Guys, I just finished chapter 2 and I didn't expect to be destroyed already. He killed Nosy. Oh no. Holy crap, Robin Hobb is already doing this to me and I didn't expect to, holy crap. I'm gonna go hug my dog now. Alright, so I'm just kind of in the middle-ish of chapter 7 of Assassin's Apprentice. And I was struck by the reaction of Burrich to Chivalry's death. I suspect there was a closeness more than what is on the page, or there was a closeness between the two that would elicit such a mourning reaction, considering Burrich, shaved his entire head when Chivalry's own brothers didn't go that far. Like, he not only shaved his head, but he shaved his eyebrows and beard and everything. So that signifies a very deep mourning and very deep connection, at least to me. So I thought that was interesting. Just checking in. I have not cried yet again, so I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I just finished the chapter where Fitz meets Lady Patience, and now he's gonna start training in this skill, so that's pretty exciting. So I'm up through chapter 14, and I started tearing up just a little bit, but not quite crying, when the Fool offers to take care of the puppy for Fitz, and I thought that was very, very sweet. And considering I just did the Robin Hobb book tag with Derry and Pradav, I can see the start, potentially, hopefully, of why the prompt for the Fool was favorite friend, or friendship, or friend group. So, I think it was, the Fool tells Fitz, I can't take care of you. Sorry, hold on, let me go back. I can take care of the pup for you, but I can't take care of you. Use your head, boy. What can you possibly learn from what he's doing to you? Referring to Gallon. And I actually rereading that, it's interesting that it's, he's recognizing what he's doing to him, not for him, if that makes sense. Yeah, anyways, I just thought that was a sweet gesture. So I'm in the midst of chapter 15, and it's right after Galen just beats Fitz half to death. And Hobb almost broke me again. So the passage, he's talking about his worth and stuff like that. He's like, below, I heard him whistling, him being Burrick. I heard him whistling and calling orders to the stable boys. It all sounded so normal and work-a-day, and I longed for it with an intensity that surprised me. I wanted that back. The warm smell of the horses and dogs and straw, the simple tasks done well and completely, and the good sleep of exhaustion at the end of the day. I longed for it, but the worthlessness that filled me now predicted that even at that, I would fail. And, yeah, it's not something that, I think, just comes out of nowhere. Things that I've been, some of the things that I've been tabbing are just, instances of loneliness and worth and stuff like that, so I think I actually just lost my place. Crap. No, I didn't. We're good. Yeah. So it didn't come out of nowhere, and holy crap, Robin Hood. Oh man, I'm just at the start, and oh dear God. So I think that's one thing. Well, one of the many things that I'm really loving about Hobbs' writing, and particularly like her portrayal of Fitz and the way that she's writing this so far, is that I know that Fitz is a totally unreliable narrator, but I'm still behind him 100%, which is, I feel, like a hard line to walk, or at least in my reading experience. Like, generally, unreliable narrators I hate because it's so obvious that they're being unreliable, that you don't really believe anything that they're saying. But yeah, so if that makes sense. Well, I'm bawling again because Fitz reunited with Nosy. Alright, so this is not spoilery at all, but I didn't know how much I missed Robin Hobb's writing until I got back into this, and her writing is just plain old gorgeous, and I already started kind of tearing up a little bit just in the prologue, so I'm in for a emotional journey from what I've heard. So, yay! So, I'm pretty sure I just met Night Eyes, and I already love him. That is it. Well, actually, that's not it. I've heard that a lot of people don't like Molly in this book, but just from the one scene between her and Fitz, like, they're just being teenagers, and yeah, I don't know. Anywho, yay, Night Eyes. Alright, so I just finished chapter 5. Yes, chapter 5. Oh God, how do you say her name? Ketrikin? Don't tell me, but I am seeing some sort of companionship there, whether it's a romance or something with her and Fitz. Again, don't tell me anything. But yeah. I just started chapter 7. Screw you, Fitz, okay? Well, he's referring to him as Cub, but I'm assuming he's Night Eyes. But yeah, like, trying to basically like break the bond with him, and Night Eyes is like, I'm already free, you do not hold me here, save that I will it. Which I thought was, oh God. And then Fitz telling him, I'm of a pack that you cannot be part of. In my pack, all are humans. You are not a human. You are a wolf. We are not a pack. A stillness welled in him. He did not try to reply, but he felt, and what he felt chilled me. Isolation and betrayal and loneliness. Screw you, Fitz. I'm still in the middle of chapter 8, but I love Katrikin. When they're going out for the hunt, and she's just telling people that this is not a hunt. Put aside your merriment and boast, remove from your bodies every hint of jewelry, every sign of rank, let your hearts be solemn and consider what we do. We do not go to hunt, but to claim our casualties. We go to lay to rest those the red ships have stolen from us. The red ships have taken the hearts of the forged ones and left with their bodies to stalk us. Nonetheless, those we put down today are the six duchies, our own. My soldiers, I ask of you that no arrow be loosed today, no blow struck save for a clean kill. I know you skilled enough to do this. We have all suffered enough. Let each death today be as brief and merciful as we can manage for all our sakes. Let us clench our jaws and remove that which infects us with as much resolve and regret as if we severed a maimed limb from a body, for such is what we do. Not vengeance, my people, but surgery, to be followed by a healing. Do as I say now. I feel so emboldened, and I would follow her just reading that. I love her. That's one of the many things that I love about Robin Hobb's writing, is that she, even though this is a first-person perspective told from Fitz's point of view, you obviously are endeared to him. Well, debatably, I've heard that some people find him annoying in this book, but I like him. And obviously I loved him in the first book, but that she's able to not only endear you as a reader to the character and the protagonist whose perspective the narrative is being told for him, but really fleshing out these kind of, not necessarily secondary characters, but like non-protagonist characters to such a degree that you are invested in them and their story, even if and when you only see glimpses of them through Fitz's eyes. And I really, 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 really like that. So, and from what I've heard about Kyle, she also does the opposite and makes you really hate characters in a very vitriolic, passionate way. So, yay, Robin Hobb. Alright, well, I'm still on chapter 8. I don't think this is a scene that most people cry at, but I am crying. When Katrikin comes back and all the bodies are laid out. And she starts washing them and bathing them, and fuck, I love Katrikin. She better not disappoint me. So I'm in the midst of chapter 15, and I just had to stop because I just read the fool's backstory, I guess, and that entire 4 pages or whatever. Holy crap, that was my jaw literally dropped just reading it, because not only was it written beautifully, but it was just, I don't know how to describe it. The Fool is an incredibly intriguing character to me, and he's just an enigma at the same time, and I love him. Of such rich colors was this transparency made. So few words, but so incredibly... I would have never have thought to put those words together, and yeah. It's just so cool. Just, oh God, Robin Hobb. You beautiful, beautiful bastard. So I just finished chapter 29, and what the fuck just happened? Yeah, so, at the very end of it, essentially, essentially Fitz roids out and just fucking goes on a murder spree. And what the, like, I liked it, but what the fuck? Holy crap. What? Yeah. So I like, yeah, I'm still like, what the fuck just happened? Yeah, so I did gather thoughts. I did like, oh god, I'm still trying to reel from that. I did like the scene where, like, he, like, kneels down and in front of King Shrewd, and King Shrewd's hand, like, dead, lifeless hand, just, like, basically anoints him and, like, falls on his head. And that's, like, a weird, like, yep, I guess I know what I'm gonna do. I'm literally going to become the king's assassin in all ways, which ways. So, yeah, and then just him just fucking murdering and stabbing the hell out of Serene and Justin. Holy crap. Yeah, no, he's becoming the sacrifice that Katrikin is has always said that leaders should be, I suppose. Yeah. As an amendment, as I've started chapter 30, I did oddly really like the start, like the epigraph to this chapter. It's very, oh man, it's basically like be wary, drown the dogs, like, oh god, and drown the boy, like, oh man, that's Robin Hobb. How are you so brutal, yes, so beautiful? Like, I know that Fitz is gonna survive because he's writing his own story, but I'm still so, like, I don't want to say anxious, but, like, I don't know. I'm somewhere between anxious and just terrified for him and just where the story is going or how it's going to end up. Is there a word for that? Like, anxious and terrified at the same time. Yeah. So that's it. I just finished Royal Assassin. And yeah. Yeah, to further expand upon my my written comment. Leslie, don't listen to this because this is a spoiler for the end of Royal Assassin. But if you haven't already read Royal Assassin. But anyways, yeah, so like the end of Royal Assassin, not like the very end, which is obviously devastating, but kind of the lead up to the end of Royal Assassin, it was like I genuinely was feeling so anxious, as if the things that were happening to myself. It was so the way that Robin Hobb is, like, the way that she writes him is realistic in that way. and also like the decisions he makes. He's a human character. But but the way that she writes him, like, it's simultaneously, what's the word for it? Like, that you basically like become so engrossed or so involved with a thing that it feels so real, and it feels like it's happening to you. That's that feeling, but at the same time it feels cathartic, at least for me. So that's why I really like Robin Hobb's writing and Fitz so much. So he's a dum-dum that didn't realize, I almost said Catrigan, but Molly was pregnant, and I'm a dum-dum that didn't realize Molly was pregnant. So we're in the same boat there, Fitz. So if Andrew wasn't so quick on the draw with responding, I was gonna immediately say that I was Assassin's Quest. But anyways, all joking aside, like, I I'm really liking this so far because it's Robin Hobb and I really trust her writing and her storytelling. But I really like kind of this, Fitz's conflict with himself and his identity as, wolf or man, and how it is, it's just, especially with the scene where he kind of just, he goes off on Shade and Burek. It's, I how I it makes sense in my head, and I'm just actually trying to verbalize it is infinitely more difficult. But I don't know, like, he immediately responds very, like, animalistically, like, with his anger and stuff like that. And then, when Shade says, sorry, I did not mean to press you that hard, um, about the skill and skilling to Verity. Fitz says, you didn't, I said quietly, you but put your finger on the spot where I had been pressing myself the most. Sometimes a man doesn't know how badly he's hurt until someone else probes the wound. And I think that's a really, like, that's that one line, and then the subsequent, like, just absolute and utter anger and frustration, and really just kind of, not, I guess, sadness in a way, but I don't know. But, like, I think that line is not only indicative of, like, his conflict, because he's using the word man in that sentence, but, a wolf or a creature, um, an animal, when dealt with wounds or pain or any sort, the natural instinct is to get away from the thing that is causing that pain, and by lashing out through that. And he's doing that in a way with his anger, but by acknowledging it with that one moment, he is being a man, a human. And I really liked that. Moment. Sorry, I just had iced coffee, so now my nose is running. But yeah, I having stupidly read the back of Assassin's Quest, knowing that Molly is pregnant with his child, spoiler alert for anyone, it makes sense why Molly was like, I have someone, what was it? Crap, what was it? He even mentions that. Dadgummit. Oh yes. She told me when she left me that day that there was someone else, someone that she cared for as I cared for my king, someone she put ahead of everything and everyone else in her life. And I'm assuming that's the child that she knows that she's pregnant with. Which, that's a incredibly, like, she's being very responsible and mature about her decisions, because knowing that she has to care for a child and willingly doing it by herself, is quite incredible. But yeah, as part of, like, the whole, like, the whole kind of confrontation with Shade and Burek, like, I should be dead, but you wouldn't let me die. All with the best of intentions, always believing you were doing what was right, no matter how it hurt me. But who gave you that right over me? Who decreed that you could do this to me? And then, like, so Fitz says that, and then alternatively, is it Burek or Shade? Talks about Fitz having the best of intentions as well. And I just think it was really interesting, like that correlation or whatever. Oh god, I thought I underlined it. I'm going to find it, god damn it. Nope, that's not it. Nope. What the heck is that cat doing? Yeah, anyways, like, yeah, he talks about, like, him having the best of intentions, but him being a, child. Oh, there you go. Of course I found it. This is after, like, the big argument, and when Burek comes back, Burek says, Shade says you've been my boy too long. Shade's boy, Verity's boy, even Patient's boy. But we kept you a boy and looked after you too much. He believes that when a man's decisions come to you, you made them as a boy, impulsively, intending to be right, intending to be good. But intentions are not good enough. And not only, like, there's a mirror there, especially after Burek kind of shares his story of Burek and Fitz, and they're kind of on these kind of parallel paths at this point, I think. I don't know. I just think it's really, really cool. I love just relishing this Robin Hobbs writing, and it's gorgeous. So yeah. So I just started chapter 7, and oh, Lady Patience, you beautiful, wonderful woman. I think it's so narratively, from a kind of prose narrative style, I think, I mean, I've always liked kind of nested narratives, but the way that Robin Hobb is able to, not only kind of develop these secondary characters through a first person perspective, but additionally, on top of that, through these kind of histories of that kind of start each chapter, she's able to build the world and build other characters as well, and give context to this world and to this story without it feeling info dumpy, if that makes sense. And I really, really like that. In regards specifically to this, sorry, in regards to specifically the kind of epigraph history thing on chapter 7, I think it's really, really empowering the way that Hobb writes Lady Patience and her abilities as a leader. She didn't strive to be a leader. She, even in the midst of her leadership, she did it very subtly, and that, the thing that she quotes from Prince Chivalry is a tower seldom crumbles from the bottom up, showing that if she crumbles as a leader, then the whole thing falls down. But on the flip side, she started at the bottom. Like, she did the influence with the guards, and by extending, I don't even want to say charity, but like, basically doing what Regal and Bright never did and weren't doing for Buck and for the coastal duchies. She was strengthening Buck and the people and herself as a leader, if that makes sense. But anywho, I'm gonna continue on and read the actual chapter now. I'll make sure to type my the chapter that I'm on going forward before I actually send the message. But I don't think this is this is definitely not a spoiler, but there are just so many moments where I'm reading Robin Hobb's prose and I just have to stop and just kind of go slack-jawed with the way she puts words together. This, in particular, this specific line: I suspected there would be an obscene ecstasy to such a theft of power. And I just had to stop and read it again because it was just so, that's just so gorgeous. So I'm up through chapter 15. I have a lot of thoughts, but I haven't been able to formulate them either. At the very least, for chapter 15, Night Eyes is back, so that's, I very much love that. What was the quote? Let me find the quote. Yeah. So, Night Eyes tells Fitz, I'm always with you, brother. You may not always be aware of me, but I am always with you. We are one. And Fitz says, we share many things, I agreed. Uneasiness itched at me. No, he turned his face to me squarely, met my eyes as no wild wolf would have. We do not share. We are one. I'm no longer a wolf. You are no longer a man. We are what we are together. I have no name for. Perhaps the one who spoke of us of the old blood would have a word to explain it. He paused. See how much a man I am that I speak of having a word for an idea? No word is needed. We exist and we are whatever we are. I'm so happy Night Eyes is back. And then him having to act like a dog, like, wag your tail. It's like, oh, the things I endure for you. That made me giggle a little bit. But it's it's very slow. Like, I get the critique that it's very slow and stuff like that. But I like it. I really, really like it. And I don't know. It's kind of cathartic in a way. It feels cathartic. Seeing kind of really every moment in Fitz's life, not just the kind of highlights as a normal kind of fantasy novel narrative structure would show you. So one of the things actually that Angela and I were talking about very briefly is like how this is kind of like the third book in the Winter Night trilogy, whereas, obviously the Winter of the Witch is like 300 page, it's only 350 pages or something, whereas this is 835 or 838 I think is by edition. But like this idea that they're both Fitz and Vasya have lost their crutches, and how they're dealing with that and managing without their crutches. And I think the difference here is that not only is Winter of the Witch told in third person perspective, but there are also like more perspectives within that narrative. So you're like flipping between, it's not just Vasya's story, even though it kind of is. So like it wouldn't make sense for Fitz to gloss over. I mean, he does gloss over some stuff, but like he's telling his own story, and he's really just, you know, he's telling his own story. Sorry, I just happened to read like the author, like about the author thing at the very start of the book, and apparently Robin Hobb learned how to raise a wolf cub in Alaska. That's cool. So I guess I know where Night Eyes came from. The cool beans. Yeah, so what was the other thing? So the other thing is like, so Fitz has lost his crutches, but like he has this sense of loneliness, and he doesn't want to be like tied to something, but like he finds out that Molly's pregnant, and so he's grasping to that and finding that as a reason to live, and not just, oh, I'm gonna kill Regal, and if I die in the midst of it, that's fine. And then on top of that, like he says, I would find Verity or his bones, but I knew I would not truly belong to myself until I had done so. So like he's still kind of defining himself based on other people, or defining his existence based on like what he can do for other people, if that makes sense. But yeah, anywho, I think that's one of the things that I really, I mean, I truly empathize with Fitz. He's a very, I mean, I've said it before, like he's a very realistic character. And especially for me, like with like the mental health journeys and, you know, highs and lows that I've been on, like I'm still struggling with my sense of self in the world, and you know, this feeling of worth, of worthiness, not only to other people, but like as myself, as an individual for myself. So I totally empathize and identify with Fitz in that way. And it's like, it is a daily struggle when you have that type of mentality, I guess, like, or self-worth, I guess. And it's not even necessarily indicative of, I mean, yes, he's had a terrible, like, hard life, but also like people who have it, you know, who would have had it perfect, could be in that situation. Because I mean, even if you look at Fitz, like on paper, he has it pretty good, like at least at his status in life. Like he doesn't have to worry about, or at least when he was younger, like he didn't have to worry about food or shelter. He was taken care of. But he still had all these struggles and doubts and and well struggles with like connecting with people and finding his own worth and stuff like that. Then obviously as time goes on, as he, you know, he has like physical wounds and stuff like that, but I think more than anything it's the mental stuff that I think is more not damaging, but like it takes a very long time to recognize and overcome mental blockers, if that makes sense. And then on top of that, like when he in regards to like him connecting himself with other people and kind of quote unquote living for other people, like, oh, I have a reason to live for, my child or Molly or whatever. It's kind of, I don't want to say that he's an addict, but like it's kind of like an addict's mentality where you have no sense of self-worth to the point that you want to, that you have to have that through other people, so like, so that you can't just live for yourself. You don't feel like living for yourself is worthy enough. You have to tie it to someone or something else, if that makes sense. So I just realized, so I sorry, I just started chapter 16, and Fitz is looking for Night Eyes. Night Eyes says, "Hunting," came the reply. "Wish I was with you. Good luck." And Night Eyes replies, "Aren't we supposed to speak but little, lest Regal hear us?" And it is, I think that's the only, like, Regal's the only human, at least that I've noticed, that Night Eyes actually refers to by name. Because he refers to Molly as mate or whatever, and then refers to Burrick as the heart of the pack, and as Shade as the gray one. I think he referred to Shade as. But it's interesting that he refers to Regal by name, and maybe that's indicative of what Night Eyes was saying about what was it? How he's becoming more of a man than a wolf, in the same way that Fitz is wolf-like, becoming kind of wolf-like. So I thought that was interesting. I hope Kettle becomes a more, like, a bigger character than just the journey from Blue Lake to the mountains. Because when Fitz asks her to tell him about the seer that she's seeking, the entire kind of page and a half of her describing what she's looking for and what that means, I don't know why, but that really really touched me in a really weird, odd, inexplicable way. Actually, not inexplicable. I have this weird relationship, affinity, love, hate thing, fear, whatever, with time and the passage of time. And one of my favorite movies, if not my favorite movie of all time, is Arrival, which is based off of a short story by Ted Chiang, which is called The Story of Your Life. And it is the basis of the story and the film is that there are these alien beings that are able to not predict time, but their existence is non-linear, so they know the impacts of what they do or don't do and how that can impact the future and stuff like that, because they live in the future, like that they have no past or future, they just know. And yeah, and not the end of the world, Tom, the end of time, to free humanity of time, for time is the great enslaver of us all, time that ages us, time that limits us. Think how often you have wished to have more time for something, or wished you could go back a day and do something differently. When humanity is freed of time, old wrongs can be corrected before they are done. I believe that this is the time for such a prophet to come, and my readings lead me to believe that this generation's white prophet shall arise in the mountains. And of course, I'm on a reading sprint, so this me crying is going to be on the internet forever. So, yay. Okay, so, as I said, I'm up through. Sorry, my cat is deciding she wants to scratch herself. And hi, George. Anyways, I'm up through chapter 20 of Assassin's Quest, and I just, you know what you said, Derry, about Night Eyes being wise. I think, you know, both Fitz. Sorry, I got distracted. My cat is sugaring up to my dog, and that rarely ever happens. I think she's just very happy right now. Anyways, so I think Fitz is still making some, like, not necessarily dumb decisions, but very rash decisions. But he's also, like, I can tell that he's growing, and I'm really liking where his character is going right now. And I like how, you know, Night Eyes is truly his familiar, and being his guide, his Jiminy Cricket, as it were. Max, lay down, please. Lay down. Lay down. Thank you, buddy. Stay. And, you know, when Fitz gets shot with the arrow, Night Eyes is like, I know you want to be a wolf, but you don't want to be a wolf. Essentially. You do not, I love you, but I do not wish to be you. You do not wish to be me either, Changer, not really. And then Fitz, without thinking, I had nearly abandoned my body for his, nearly climbed in beside him into that perfect, healthy wolf's body. I had done it once before, with his consent, but now we both knew better. We would share, but we would not become one another, not without both of us losing. And, sorry, I had to, run the dog off of the cat's food, because he was trying to get into it. Douchebag dog, right, buddy? Anywho, continuing. So I just, you know, I think that shows the growth that both characters have had, and the whole, like, the whole, all the scenes between Blue Lake and, how do you pronounce it, Jump, were simultaneously slow yet thrilling and action-packed. It was just really, really cool. And then Fitz is reunited with the Fool, and I just, man, I love the Fool, and him being the White Prophet. And then I pretty much lost it with the last, like, the second to last paragraph of chapter 20, where the Fool tells Fitz, tomorrow, he told me gravely, we shall be ourselves again, the Fool and the Bastard, or the White Prophet and the Catalyst, if you will. We will have to take up those lives as little as we care for them, and fulfill all fate has decreed for us. But for here, for now, just between us two, and for no other reason save I am me and you are you, I tell you this, I am glad that you are alive. To see you take breath puts the breath back in my lungs. If there must be another my fate is twined around, I'm glad it is you. That is fucking Shakespeare beauty. Like, she makes Shakespeare look like freaking, I don't know, children's literature. Like, oh god, that's just, not only is it like written gorgeous, just everything behind that is stunning. And man, I love Robin Hobb. This is still have 400 pages to go, so yay. So, as mentioned, I am partway through chapter 26 of Assassin's Crest. Fitz is a woman? Or not Fitz. Oh dear God, the Fool is a woman? Like, that's how mushy my brain is right now. What? Is the book playing an April Fool's joke on me? Yeah, because like up to this point, like I thought of him as kind of like a, I don't know, like a not quite a eunuch, but yeah, like a androgynous like person. Yeah. So I was like, wait, what? He's a woman? I'm so confused. All right, but I'll carry on. So, as my message says, I'm up through chapter 32. Max, go lay down, buddy. Sorry. I am again struck by how Katrikin and Fitz, there is a attraction, I guess, between them. Hi, George. Because Katrikin says that if she didn't have Verity, she would find him very, she would not disdain him. But, so that's, I don't know, we'll see what happens, I guess. But, the Stone Garden, that reminded me of the, is the prophecy that, the Fool says, or one that was, like, read, where flesh will be, the catalyst will make flesh of stone and stone of flesh, or something like that. So I wonder if there will be something related to that, especially since Fitz and Night Eyes can sense these statues kind of like life force, I guess. In chapter 32, Kaplan Beach, I think it was actually chapter 31 that it happened, but 32 where it kind of comes to the forefront, where the Fool was kind of force. Oh my God, it's not Star Wars. He was skill attacked in a way by Burl when they were trying to find Fitz. And there was that like gust of skill strength. And the Fool kind of goes back to himself. But I think, especially with the way that he was acting with Fitz when Fitz was in like the pool and asking all those like weird questions, and then he kind of collapses. I think Burl and Will and or Regal were taking control of the Fool to get information from Fitz, which, as a reader, I'm kind of seeing the Fool ask these questions, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like the Fool. Like, this just doesn't sound like the Fool. Like, why can't you see that Fitz? It's true. But also, like, to give him benefit of doubt, like, it's easier to see things from, like, well, especially like from like a bird's eye view to see the impact of stuff, but like even from an outsider's perspective, which even though this is first person, we are readers. We are reading it outside of Fitz's memory, and yeah. So it's easier to see things not in the moment, if that makes sense. Not quite hindsight, but like, I don't know. Does it make sense? Yeah, like Fitz is. I was actually thinking about this earlier today. Like, of what I've read of The Name of the Wind, like, mind you, I've read like 150 pages of it, and then I was like, I can't read Name of the Wind anymore. I hate this book. But both of these stories are told in first person perspective, and it's like let me tell you my story type situation, where Fitz is endearing and he's flawed, which lends to his endearingness. And I don't want to say sympathy, because like, yeah, you feel bad for the situations that he goes through, but like, he feels like a complex character, because not because he goes through terrible things, but because of the way he looks at life and the way he handles situations, as opposed to Kavoth, again, of what I've read of Name of the Wind. I freaking hated Kavoth. He was a narcissist and thought way too highly of himself, but he was this perfect guy who did everything perfectly, and apparently nothing impacted him whatsoever. It only made him be greater, and seem greater to everyone. I don't know. I really don't like Name of the Wind. I honestly have no words. Yeah, the reunion with Verity was shocking, bittersweet, confusing, amazing, beautiful. What the fuck is going on type situation. It's wow. And then oh, and then Katrikin um telling Verity that she lost her their child, and him not recalling. Oh, he said, then, had we a son? I do not recall. And then Fitz goes on in the narrative to say, um, um, her desperate flight from Buckkeep Castle and all the hardships she had endured to protect her unborn child, the long, lonely months of her pregnancy, culminating in the heartrending stillbirth of her child, and her dread that she must tell her lord how she had failed him. That had been her reality for the past year, and now she stood before her husband and her king, and he fumbled to recall her and of the dead child, and only said, "Oh." I felt shamed for this doddering old man who peered at the queen and smiled so wearily. Katrikin did not scream or weep. She simply turned and walked slowly away. I sensed great control in that passage and great anger. And then Night Eyes is like, screw you, I'm going with Katrikin. Damn Katrikin. That's heartbreaking. So crap, I forgot to send the text thing. I'll do that after, but I'm on chapter 34, and when Verity, he interrupted wearily. Call me Verity, and for Ada's sake, answer the question, Fitz. He sounded so like his old self I wanted to embrace him. Instead, I said, I do not know if she is angry. She's definitely hurt. She came a long and weary way to find you, bearing terrible news, and you did not seem to care. I care when I think of it, he said gravely. When I think of it, I grieve. But there are so many things I must think of, and I cannot think of them all at once. I know when the child died, Fitz. How could I not know? He too, and all I felt, I have put into the dragon. And when he goes to Katrikin and he says, I can't embrace you. If I could, I would embrace you. And then he just opens his arm and she hugs him or whatever. And he asks, did you give him a name, our son? Katrikin replies, I named him according to the customs of your land. Sacrifice. So, this is probably TMI, so I apologize. I just need to, vent and get it off my chest. I think this is one of the great things about Robin Hobb's writing and her characters that you can see yourself so much in a character that is, it seems like such a simple storyline. And I know this is in no way like the experience that Katrikin went through, but I don't know. I really empathize with Katrikin, and I'm really in awe of her strength as a character, as a woman, and I might have to be done with reading for tonight. So, yeah. Wow. So obviously I just finished chapter 39. Wow. That was, Robin Hobb, she's great at character work, but all the dragons coming to life, I was holding my breath, that I knew that I was holding my breath. And I was just, even just through words, I was so in awe of these dragons and their destruction, and oh god, just dadgum beautiful. Oh my god. I still have technically 2 chapters left, but he's made flesh of stone. How's he gonna make stone of flesh? I don't know. So, to answer your question, Derry, yes, I'm okay. In regards to like not being emotionally devastated or anything like that, I am just in complete and utter awe of Robin Hobb's writing, her ability to plot, her character work. I loved the Dragon's Awakening. That was absolutely amazing. And then she wrapped it up in a way that I didn't expect. I liked the way that Fitz, he really, I don't know, like he has this sense of complete and utter empathy now. And I think that is because he tried to put I don't know if he actually did, but I can't remember if he actually did, but he just talked about putting all of the pain into the dragons. And I read it as he actually did put the pain in there. And that really, even though the Fool and Verity and I think it was Katrikin said that you might need the, or Kettle, I think it was Kettle, said you might need this pain. It also freed him in a way to be more empathetic with the way that he treated Will at the end to reach Regal, and even the way that he handled Regal. He could have just killed him, and he could have become the the skill user that killed somebody else. But he I guess you could look at it in a way that he was doing it to save himself and like not make himself be an awful person. But I think he gave Regal something back. Even though by using his skill power to like basically take him over in a way. He didn't really take him over, but like, again, the way that I read it, I feel like Fitz, in the way that Fitz was able to free himself of the pain, the dragons freed him of the pain, with him giving them his pain. Fitz was able to free Regal of the absolute inadequacy that he felt, that I think is a good, I think, yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, I hate Regal, he's awful. Yes, he's awful, but I felt sympathy for him because he was constantly, he's having to live up to two older brothers that are really untouchable in a way, and having his mother constantly compare him and then trying to keep him from being hurt or anything like that, and instilling these kind of vitriolic, kind of hateful and cruel ideologies into him that just made him even more cruel and even more hateful, and I think Fitz freeing him of that, and instilling in him this kind, and I put in my Goodreads review, I think I put it this way, this kind of zealous loyalty to Verity and Katrikin and the Six Duchies. God, sorry, Max saw a dog that he does not like. But yeah, instilling in him this loyalty to everything that Max, sit. Really? Instilling in him this loyalty that he should have, that he should have had from the beginning, I think. And it's just, it was really good. And then, him letting go of any sense of betrayal and anger toward Burrick and Molly, and allowing them, not even allowing them, but just allowing himself to be happy and content for them and what they've found with each other. So I think that was really, really nice. Really, really just amazing, profound way to end the series, or in the trilogy, which I don't know. I mean, there's 13 more books, even though Live Ship and Rain Wilds is not technically Fitz stories, but there's 3, 6, I don't know, however many books still left for Fitz. I don't, like, where is it gonna go from here? I don't know.